Jonah. Chapter 1. Jonah flees from the Lord. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed for Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bound for that port. After paying the fare, he went aboard and sailed for Tarshish to flee from the Lord. Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea, and such a violent storm arose that the ship threatened to break up. All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own god. And they threw the cargo into the sea to lighten the ship. But Jonah had gone below deck, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The captain went to him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us so that we will not perish." Then the sailors said to each other, "Come, let us cast lots to find out who is responsible for this calamity." They cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. So they asked him, "Tell us, who is responsible for making all this trouble for us? What kind of work do you do? Where do you come from? What is your country? From what people are you?" He answered, "I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land." This terrified them, and they asked, "What have you done?" They knew he was running away from the Lord, because he had already told them so. The sea was getting rougher and rougher, so they asked him, "What should we do to you to make the sea calm down for us?" "Pick me up and throw me into the sea," he replied, "and it will become calm. I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you." Instead, the men did their best to row back to land, but they could not, for the sea grew even wilder than before. Then they cried out to the Lord, "Please, Lord, do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man, for you, Lord, have done as you pleased." Then they took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm. At this, the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. The story of Jonah from the Bible is a powerful narrative that holds valuable lessons about obedience, divine intervention, and spiritual awakening. God spoke to Jonah, instructing him to go to Nineveh and rebuke the people for their wickedness. However, Jonah was reluctant and chose to flee instead. This reluctance may have stemmed from fear or resentment towards the people of Nineveh, who had done terrible things to Jonah's people. God sent a great storm to stop Jonah's escape, demonstrating his power over nature and his determination to fulfill his plan. Despite being surrounded by religious sailors who prayed to their gods, only Jonah had a relationship with the true God. This highlights the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who share our faith, as their influence can impact our lives during times of crisis. When the sailors cast lots to determine who was responsible for the storm, the lot fell on Jonah. He confessed to being a prophet of the true God, but his actions contradicted his knowledge of God. This serves as a reminder that even believers who are in rebellion can still acknowledge the truth about God. Jonah's willingness to sacrifice himself to save the sailors shows a glimpse of his character despite his disobedience. Ultimately, the sailors threw Jonah into the sea, and the storm ceased immediately, proving the existence of Jonah's God. In response, the sailors feared the Lord and made sacrifices to him, demonstrating a shift from fearing the storm to fearing the one true God.